Oh boy, we'll see how many roasts I can get in of myself. It's been a hot second since I actually went through my collection, so I'm kind of surprising myself with what I actually own, which it's probably not a good thing, but oh well. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. No person should have this much merch. Okay, this will be the most hastily put together video that I've ever made. Okay, so not a lot was planned today, but today, as of recording, it is Sly Cooper's 20th anniversary since its original release. The first game released back in September 23rd, 2002. So today marks 20 years. And I figured, you know what? Let me make a collection video, just really quick and dirty, speeding through it as fast as I can, because I was a little inspired by Twitter. I was going to do this later in the month when I had a little more planned out, but I figured, you know what? Now is better than never. So we're going to go through that now. As you can see, I've got quite a lot of stuff to cover, and that's just what's in the frame. There's quite a lot out of frame as well. So I'm going to try to go through this as organized, but as hastily as possible as well. So there's a little post-production to do. I'm going to start off with just the games. Well, the games first, and then move on to all the other sort of knickknacks and books and whatnot. Okay, let's get started. So first off, I already pulled off the Sly 1 stuff off my shelf, but these are like my main copies of Sly 1, the first game. Sly Cooper and the Thieves Raccoonus in North America, and Sly Raccoon in the European regions. And you might ask, why 8 copies? And I would respond to you, great question. Moving on. Also, before anyone, if you're curious as to how much all of this costed, I could have bought a decent used car. So anyways, so let's start off with the North American releases of Sly 1. So this is your bread and butter, at least for most people. This is the first game they picked up. The black label Sly 1, at least in North America. It has the Sly Cooper insignia and the title, of course, Sly Cooper and the Thieves Raccoonus. Nothing too special. This one I bought used a while ago. This isn't actually the original copy I played growing up, but that's what it is. Nothing too special. And then I also have the greatest hits version, the red label version. This is the version that I actually bought back in 2010, 2011-ish at a Toys R Us Black Friday sale. So this is my version. As you can see, it's pretty dinged up, but it just goes with the territory of owning a game and actually playing it. So that's my copy right there. Of course, it features Sly on the cover instead of just his insignia, and on the back there's also some award statements from various review outlets, because it is the greatest hits version. This one actually came out roughly a year after the original release, so in late 2003. So yeah, that's about it. And if you're curious about like the manuals and discs and stuff, I'm not really going to be covering that in this video, but I have done quite a few videos over on the Sly Cooper Wiki's channel if you're interested in knowing what's actually inside these games. But I'm just going to go over the general details as fast as I can in this video. These are also North American copies. These are specifically French-Canadian copies here. This one says Le Grand Succès, French for grand success, presumably, and then this one has just Grand Succès, so it doesn't have the article in front, and pardon my French. These are both French-Canadian copies. What that means is, underneath the sleeve, they also have the regular English-only sleeve here, which is kind of cool, but inside they actually include 2 manuals. So they have the French manual, it's a manual in French, and then they also have the normal English manual, as you can kind of see there. So that's what's really cool about this. As someone who prioritizes collecting all of this stuff mainly for the Sly Cooper Wiki, this is the kind of stuff that I actually really care about. I know a lot of collectors tend to focus on more like merch or swag items like beanies or postcards or whatever, and more power to them. That's certainly awesome to see. Truthfully, I love seeing that kind of stuff, but that's not really what I try to focus on here. Just to give you a heads up, in case you're wondering throughout this video, it's like, hey, why doesn't he have this, or doesn't this exist, why don't you have that? That would be why. Just different focuses for different collectors, and that's okay. So yeah, these are the French-Canadian versions. The other difference here between these two is the spine. Hopefully you guys can see that, and I'll bring it over here as well. I don't know why the spine was made like this. Yeah, I can only speculate as to why, but it's a cool copy nonetheless. I'm really happy to own it, and yeah, that's about it. So that's my North American versions of Sly 1. Moving on to the PAL versions. So these are English language versions. So these are UK releases of Sly Raccoon, and you can gather that from the rating labels here. So this one has, I believe, an L-SPA rating. This one's kind of old. It was there. It was in the early 2000s, but then it was phased out in favor of PEGI, at least in the UK and much of Western Europe. So this is a version of Sly Raccoon. I've covered this on the Sly Cooper Wiki's channel as well. And so this is the L-SPA version, and then this is the PEGI version. So they have their minute differences, but I mean, you know, they're Sly 1, the video game. So, but yeah, the manuals I believe were slightly different as well, which is interesting to document. But yeah, that's my European versions of Sly Raccoon. I believe a few more versions of Sly Raccoon as well. At one point in my life, I wanted to collect all the languages of all the video games, but that quickly fell apart once I tried collecting European copies, because there are a ton of European copies. So I gave up on that. This is as far as I got with Sly Raccoon. I don't plan on going back, genuinely. I believe that this is an Australian copy, as you can see from the G Plus there. It's, yeah, I mean, it's a game. There's the G Plus. There's a Verve 7 Plus one here, PEGI 7 Plus, which I believe was in some parts of Europe. Actually, it does have multiple languages on the back. Hopefully, you're able to see that. This one also, I believe, had a thick manual because it had all those languages. Yeah, had a thick manual. So there's that one. This was a French copy, as you can see from the rating label. The back is completely in French. This was for France, presumably. And this one was for Germany. Yeah, I mean, not much else to it. Again, this has just German all over it. They're cool copies. The disc ID, I believe, of all of these are a little different, which is kind of cool. I haven't gone into actually exploring them in depth myself. That's something I hope to do one day, but that'll be a while. It'll be a while till I get there. But yeah, those are my European copies of Sly 1. I don't think I'll collect any more, quite frankly. These can get really expensive really fast due to how scarce they are, and also because of just how many different versions there are. So yeah, if you want to go collect European versions of Sly Raccoon, have at it, because I am out of that market. Alright, moving on to Japanese and Korean versions. So we have Kaitou Sly Cooper, the Japanese version of Sly 1. Cool box art. I think a lot of people would agree that this is the best, or at least one of the best box arts of the whole series. In my opinion, it's the best box art of Sly 1 for sure. It's super cool. A lot of detail in there, a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, it's just a really cool series, really cool cover. And the game itself also has a couple bonus videos as well. I've never actually played this version. I tend to collect more than I play these days. But with that said, yeah, there's a couple of bonus items on the disc. And of course, the manual is all in Japanese, as one would expect. But yeah, that's my Japanese copy of Sly Cooper 1. And then last, to round out the Sly 1 stuff, is my Korean copies. These are relatively recent additions to my collection. They are a pain to get in because not very many people sell them on eBay. I actually had a really good friend of mine who they traveled to Korea and were able to pick these up for me. A huge thank you if you're watching this video. These are really cool too. I haven't gotten around to playing them. Maybe one day. But they're all in Korean. Here's a better look at the box art there. It's cool box art. It's pretty similar to the North American version of Sly 1, which would make sense because I believe the disc is also, those two discs are also similar. But again, I haven't actually played it. A lot of people have played it, a lot of speedrunners especially. So I'm sure they'd be able to tell you a little more about it. This is the big hits version. So this is the Korean equivalent of greatest hits. So this is a pretty cool copy. I don't have the manual, which is the only unfortunate part. But that's what you get when you buy used. It's a bit of a gamble. But nonetheless, really cool to see. I really enjoy having these copies on hand. I don't know if I've scanned the manual and stuff, but if I haven't, I'll get right on those. That rounds out Sly 1. So I'm going to put these aside. I'm just going to stack them back up here before putting them back on the shelf. Logically, let's move on to Sly 2. So I don't have very many copies of Sly 2. Everything's okay. But the few that I have, I think, I don't know, they're the most important ones, I would say. Also, real quick, Sly 1, before we move on, this is a random copy of Sly 1 that I bought for really cheap used. You'll notice that it says it's a greatest hits version because it's a red label, but it doesn't have a greatest hits banner anywhere. And I figured, you know what, it's probably just a printed copy off of somewhere. I don't think it's an official copy, but whatever. I have it because I don't really know what to do with my money. So Sly 2. A lot of people really like this game. They think it's the best game. I think they're wrong. They need to play more Sly 3. But I digress. So this is a black label copy of Sly 2. This is also not my original copy of Sly 2. This one I bought after the fact. This is actually a really cool copy, the black label versions, because they come with the little poster that folds out. And yeah, I don't know. I thought this was really cool. Posters are always nice, right? It comes with a little poster. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that on camera, but that's what the poster looks like, and it has maps of each of the worlds as well, at least the first 3 worlds. So World 3, World 2, and World 1. So that's pretty cool. You don't really get that with games nowadays, but that was in the black label versions of Sly 2. They were not included in the greatest hits versions or any other versions of Sly 2 as far as I am aware. So that's why the black label is actually really valuable, regardless of whether it's been open or sealed. So that's a nice copy to have. And of course, leading right into that, we have the red label version. This is the version I actually grew up playing, and I really mean that because this was actually my very first Sly Cooper game that my parents bought. My introduction to the series was back in 2005, playing Sly 1 at a friend's birthday party, and I really wanted to play more. So logically, I had my parents buy me Sly 2. So yeah, I had no idea what the story was, and I hopped right into Sly 2, and I had fun. I had a lot of fun, actually, but it wasn't until a few years later when I actually played Sly 1. But this is my first copy, so this one means a lot to me in particular, because I really did grow up with this copy right there. Yeah, so it's a nice copy there. Before I move on, I'm actually going to show off the French-Canadian version as well. So this is what it looks like normally, but the way I received it, there's actually shrink wrap on top of this jacket here. So you can see the French here, Les Grands Succès. It's just a sleeve with English and French on the back here. And then it comes with the French manual as well, packaged separately. That's cool. The actual game, though, this is just the English version. There's nothing special about the discs. It's all about the packaging. So I own it. It's nice to document, of course, but there's nothing too special if you're out looking for different versions of the game to actually play. But it's a collection. Not much will make sense. This is my English version of Sly 2 Band of Thieves, of the PAL version, specifically the PAL English version here. I have not actually played this myself either, but I would really like to. I believe this one I was able to snag new. Pretty happy with this copy as well. What's this one? Oh, languages I don't know. I think this is Italian. I'm gonna get roasted really badly in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this one's Italian. And and only Italian. There's no other languages on the box as far as I can see here. This one is German because of the sort of rating in that corner, and the back is all in German as well. So that's pretty cool. Nothing too special, but it's there. And then this one is in French. So, whoop-de-doo. Yeah, it's in French. I think the French one I also got new as well. So, it's nice to have. Quite frankly, it's not worth the investment unless you are really into collecting every single European copy. If you're living on the States, it is expensive. They rack up a lot of money very quickly. So that's all my PAL copies. Moving on, we have the Japanese version here. So this is Sly 2, Japan. Not much else to say about it. It has a manual, it has a disc. The art is also it's pretty cool. You got Murray with a hot dog, which you don't really see too often. The back is also pretty nice. It plays out like a comic strip, like the previous, or like the North American versions as well. But yeah, it's pretty nice to have. Not much else to say. And then I have the Korean version as well. It's a Korean version of Sly 2. It's nice. That's that. I don't really know what else to say. I'm happy to own all of these things because I can scan them and put them on the wiki and then not really do much else with them after. That's what those copies look like. So that's rounding out Sly 2, as far as I'm aware. So, yep. Alright, moving on. Sly 3, of course. Sly 3 is my favorite Sly Cooper game. Sure, that'll ruffle a few feathers, but it is what it is. Anyways, start off with the North American versions. This is similar to Sly 1 in the sense that you have your normal black label version, which is the one that I bought back in 2006, I believe. There's not much to say about it. It's a North American Sly 3, whoop-de-doo. Then we have the Greatest Hits version as well. Not much else to say. Has a red label, which usually devalues it a little bit. I know a lot of people tend to prefer the black label versions for whatever reason, but it is what it is. These are French-Canadian versions. So this is a French-Canadian Greatest Hits version. You can tell from the English and French right there, and hopefully you can see it there. And it includes both English and French manuals. And the back is also in English and French as well. So it's pretty cool. I believe, yeah, these also included the 3D glasses, so that was nice. These all included the 3D glasses. This one's a black label French-Canadian version, which is a little more difficult to procure, but I was able to get my hands on it. This one I would consider to be one of the more rarer parts of my collection, though I haven't really checked on eBay to see if these copies are, as rare as I think they are, but nonetheless, it's in my collection. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, right. Okay, so these are the same thing. They're PAL versions of Sly 3, specifically the UK version, so the English version. But this one you can see the fired up sticker's a little worn for wear. Nothing wrong with it, but it was just a little annoying. I don't know if these included. Yeah, they didn't include the 3D glasses. This one did, actually. I think this one I was able to get brand new. As you can kind of see, the fire it up sticker is much better. And these ones did come with the 3D glasses, so I actually do have a complete European Sly 3, so that's pretty cool. This one's a French version of Sly 3. Yeah, not much. Did these come with the... They did not. Oh well. And this one, I believe... Wait. This is not French. This isn't French. This, I believe is Spanish. I don't know. Roast me all you want, buds. And this one's definitely French, though, so... Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, nothing too special. I don't know. There's Sly 3. So that's all the PAL Sly 3 games. Then we also have the Korean version. Cool artwork, of course. It looks very nice. These ones, unfortunately, do not have the 3D glasses. They do exist. I believe Cooper Curse has some, which look very cool, but neither of my copies of the Korean Sly 3 came with them, which is a bummer, but hey, I have the Korean version anyway, so that's a pretty good deal in and of itself. Like Sly 1, Sly 3 also got Big Hit Series, and Sly 2 did as well. I just don't have that in my collection. Maybe someday, but it's not a priority right now. Nonetheless, very cool to see. And in case you were wondering, Sly 3 did not release in Japan. So the first way that Japan was able to play through Sly 3 was actually in the Sly Cooper collection, which wouldn't come out for a good while, I believe 2011 or 2012. So I don't know why it didn't release over there, but that's what it is. Speaking of Sly Collection, I guess we can go there next. It's been a hot second since I actually went through my collection, so I'm kind of surprising myself with what I actually own, which it's probably not a good thing, but oh well. Starting off with the Sly Collection. This is your normal North American USA version. I mean, it's a game. It has all 3 remasters, and everyone likes to complain about Miss Ruby, which is fair. But that's what that looks like. Then we have the French-Canadian version as well. So this one has both English and French, as you might be able to guess. And these all included manuals as well. So this French-Canadian version also comes with an English and French manual. So very nice. But I believe on disc, they're the exact same disc. So you're only getting just more pages, which is cool. At least for me, I think it's cool. This is the Sly Trilogy, so this is the PAL version, specifically the English version. I didn't really care much for other languages at this point, because I don't have the space for it. But yeah, that's what it looks like. This one actually irritated me a while back when I covered it for the wiki, because it uses like Sly 3 prototype footage, like images in the manual and in the box art as well, which is a little bizarre to me, but whatever. I guess it's a cool Easter egg, but for me, I was a little confused by it. This one, oh right, you're right. Okay, yeah. So this one was actually a French display case. So this is all in French, but the disc is actually the disc that they'd give for previews. So if you were like press, then you would get this disc. For like review purposes, essentially. I believe the discs were the exact same though. This is for reference. This is what a normal disc would look like. So, as you can see, the art's actually there, and you'll also have the inside jacket with the art as well. Whereas the press versions or the display versions did not have any art. So, yeah, that's cool. This is a multilingual one, so it has 4 languages, but it did not come with the manual, and I believe that is the case for all. No, I'm just kidding. Sly Trilogy came with the manual, just not some of my copies. So there's the PAL versions, and then as I mentioned before, here's the Japanese version. This is the first way that's the Japanese people were able to play Sly 3 for whatever reason, but that's what it looks like. And of course, Japan always knocks it out of the park with its box art. Like, that is some really, really cool box art. But yeah, it's the Japanese Sly Cooper collection. And then I also have the Korean version, which, as you can see, is modeled pretty similarly after the North American version with the billboard and the 3 games. But that's what it looks like. It looks pretty dang cool to have on a shelf. And yeah, and not much else to it. It does include a manual as well, so it's always nice to see. Moving on to, actually, I guess we can move on to the Vita version of Sly Trilogy. It seems pretty reasonable. So let's see here. First off, so I've got 5 versions of the Vita version. They're all different, of course, because why wouldn't they be? Or I guess 4. So 4 versions. So I'll start off with the tried and true North American version. This one is sealed. For no particular reason. I just wanted a sealed version just so I could be guaranteed that I'd have the the Sly 3 download code. For those of you who don't know, the Sly Collection on Vita didn't include Sly 3 on the cartridge. It was just too big to fit all 3 games on the cartridge. So they include a download code, but if you were to buy this new, the download code is more than likely expired. So I think you can contact PlayStation support and work something out, but just a heads up in case you're trying to look out for those copies. But that's what that is. Then I also have the French-Canadian version, so it has both French and English. So on the front, on the spine, as well as on the back. So yeah, it's a pretty cool copy. This one's also sealed. I haven't opened it, but yeah, that's what it is there. This, I believe, did not come out in Japan, so we're going to move on to the Korean version. As you can see there, the Korean version, it looks exactly like the other versions. Relatively minimalistic in its design and cover, but that's what it looks like. And this one did not come with the Sly 3 download code, which it's okay. It is what it is. And then first for this video so far, I believe, is the Asian version. So this is an English and Chinese version right here, English and Mandarin. So it looks extremely similar to the other versions, but you can decipher it from this little English-Chinese version here. It says official product, presumably in Mandarin, and then if you flip over to the back, it'll have more specifics, specifically what the game cartridge language would be and what the manual cartridge might be. And the cartridge is actually numbered differently than these other ones. Whether or not there's actually any differences on the cartridge, I do not know, but that's in my collection nonetheless. It's a different version than all these other ones, so that's what we have there. So that's all of the Sly Collection, Sly Trilogy versions I have. Logically, we can move on to Thieves in Time next. Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, it's a game. I'm certain that some of you have opinions on it, but I actually don't think it's terrible, but there's certainly room for improvement. This is the North American version, as you might have been able to guess. I don't know. It didn't include a manual. It did not include a manual, so just the disc, which is unfortunate. It was entering the era where games did not include manuals, which is unfortunate in my opinion. This is the French-Canadian version, so as you might be able to guess, this includes both English and French. Still no manual, but it's cool on the... Oh, and it actually does include English and French on the inner jacket as well. So the inner jacket has the controls for the game, so it's cool. It's a cool Easter egg, but it's Thieves in Time at the end of the day. This is a PAL English version. This is one where I think I completely gave up on collecting any other language versions just because it was not worth it. Excuse me, it was not worth it at that point. But yeah, this one actually does include a manual, which is very nice of them. It's pretty cool. It's not very long, they're not very big, but it does have some tutorials and whatnot, so it's quite nice. And the art, because they don't have to go over the controls, they actually include a nice little art of that sort of Bentley's desk full of knickknacks and references, so it's pretty cool to see. The Korean version, so the Korean version is very thorough actually. That's what it looks like here. It looks the same as the rest of the games, the rest of the versions. The back is also nothing exceptional. But this game, and I don't know if it's because of regulations or something, this game includes a full-on like 40-page manual of the game. Like, this is actually pretty insane. Like, I was not expecting this at all, especially since none of the other versions came with manuals, just digital manuals really, or like the small one. So this 40-page manual being in this is quite a treat, if I'm being honest. So that's really cool. And then lastly, of course, this is actually another North American version. This one's actually in Spanish, so this includes both English and Spanish. For the most part, the packaging is only in Spanish, aside from the ESRB descriptors. That's in both English and Spanish, but there's nothing too special about this either. The stuff, the jacket, inner art, But the controls is all in Spanish, but it's nothing too exceptional, but it is something unique, I would say. So it's pretty cool. So I guess my camera stopped recording, which is cool, but we're moving on from Thieves in Time PS3 to Thieves in Time Vita. So I have 3 different versions of those here. They're pretty much the same, but I'll go through each one of them. So we have the English version that you can get in the US, most of North America really. Nothing too special about it. Then I have the English-French version, so a French-Canadian version. This one you can get if you're in specific regions of Canada. Has a lot of French on the back, but not much else really to differentiate it. And then I also have the Asian version. So this one has marketing in English and Mandarin, mainly for Hong Kong. Those are the versions of Thieves in Time Vita that I have. I guess we can move on to demos next, and that'll sort of close out the games portion of this video. So I'll start off with the North American game demos. So these were... There's a few of them. I own 6, I believe. 5 or 6. There are 5. There's 1 Sly 1, 2 Sly 2, and 2 Sly 3. So we'll go over the Sly 1 ones first. This is the E3 demo for Sly 1. There's a new thief in town. I believe this covered a few sections in Raleigh's level, so the first area of the game. But it is a little different than the final game. Sly's model looks a little weird, I believe. This also has Zig and Zag, who were the checkpoint mascots before they were scrapped for whatever reason. That's the E3 demo for Sly 1. Then here's the E3 demo for Sly 2. So this was also relatively early in development. There's a lot of differences between this and the final version of the game. So it is pretty cool to have. Yeah, not much else to it. And this is a post-release demo for Sly 2. So after Sly 2 released, this demo also came out. So this is a lot more finalized in terms of like UI, mission structure, how the missions are laid out, etc. This demo is a lot closer to the final game in that regard. This is the E3 version of the Sly 3 demo. So this is relatively similar to what actually ended up in the final game, though there are differences, of course. This, I believe, included Lemon Rage, which is Lemonade Brawl, Unleash the Guru, the Biplane 2-player mission, as well as the Cops and Robber 2-player mission. So, yeah, I believe that's what was on here. And then there's a post-release Sly 3 demo as well, which included the same things as the E3 demo, but in a more finalized format, obviously. So that's what that looks like, and I own 2 of them for whatever reason. I believe one of them was sealed, which I later opened, but that's what I have. So those are the North American demos. We can move on to the PAL demo, the only one I have, which is this Sly Raccoon demo here. So I believe this is similar to the North American version in the sense that it goes through parts of Raleigh's level, and that's mainly the demo here. It includes a disc which slides out like so. So this is a blue disc, which is quite nice. But that's the PAL demo. Let's see, I believe there's a few more in here as well. So I have just a standalone disc version of this PAL demo as well. This is before, I owned the disc version before I realized that it actually came with a sleeve. So I just have it in its own little jewel case here, but it's the same thing. I also have, we're going to go through these a little later. Moving on to demos. This is the Japanese demo. So this is a demo for the Sly 1 Japan version. I believe content-wise it's the same thing, just covers parts of Raleigh's level, which is quite cool. But yeah, that's what it looks like, and I also have a semi-sealed version. This was used as well, but came in nice packaging, so I still have it on there. But yeah, that's what that looked like. And then I also have a Korean demo. It's a Sly 1 Korean demo here. This one comes in a full-blown PS2 case, which is kind of cool. It's pretty neat to see that. And it only came with the disc. I'm not sure if these demos are supposed to come with more, but that's what my copy came with. Interestingly enough, I think this was bundled with the PlayStation Magazine over in Korea. So that's where you would have been able to get this. But anyways, it's pretty cool as well. I haven't played through the Korean version, so I'm not quite sure what content is in there, but I own it. Moving on to press games slash mostly press games actually. This is the demo of Sly 1, as I mentioned, as I showed off earlier. This is a press release version of Sly 1. So this is presumably what the press would have gotten to review. So they would have gotten this ahead of time in a press kit, which I actually have somewhere. I'll show that off as well. That's what that would have looked like. Then we also have Sly 2 Band of Thieves press release version. So this is what the press would have gotten. Oh, by the way, these press versions are basically identical, if not completely identical, to the final version of the game. So just something to note. And of course, press version of Sly 3. And same with the Sly trilogy. And Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, which is this one here. So here's another pre-release. This one's from Australia for Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. It's kind of cool. But yeah, there's that. And these are press preview discs for the Sly trilogy. These are more prototypical-ish. These are, I believe, internal. I don't remember the complete story behind these, but they are a little different than the final game, but not very different since they are so close to release. So this is November 2010. I believe that's pretty close to the release date of Sly Trilogy. This one's a little more interesting. This is Sly Cooper Thieves in Time preview review build right here. You'll notice that it's dated November 2012. For those of you who remember, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time released in February or March, depending on your region. But Thieves in Time was actually ready to go in November 2012. The reason why it wasn't released at that time was Sony logistically wanted PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale to release first. So PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale released in that holiday 2012 season, and then Thieves in Time released later. But Thieves in Time was ready to go by November 2012. So I don't know if I covered this, but I might as well. We have Jam Pack demos, which included a variety of PlayStation 2 demos. This one included Sly 1, which was quite nice. These are North American demos, by the way. This is Jam Pack 2002. So, this is a different variation, but it included the same Sly 1 demo. It's quite nice, and this was a Jam Pack demo that included Sly 2. Just a video, though, but still, it's something. It's a sealed version of Jam Pack 2005. This includes a Sly 3 demo. This is actually how I played the heck out of Lemonade Brawl. Good times. That rounds it out for the games section. So, I guess we can talk about the goodies now, which there are quite a few. I guess we'll start off with the Sly 3 soundtrack. So, that's what that looks like here. Sly 3 soundtrack. This was relatively inexpensive at the time when Sucker Punch was selling this, but it has become extremely expensive since, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. This is what the disc looks like. So just Sly, but that's what it looks like. It includes it includes 29 songs, so that goes to 54 minutes and 34 seconds. It's not the complete soundtrack, but it gets the highlights, and it includes 3 tracks from Sly 2 for whatever reason. But so I have that one, and I also have the sealed version as well, just because. So there's that. Moving on to the rest of the show. Yeah, I guess we can talk about this. So we can talk about books now. So this is the Japanese guidebook for Sly 1. So Sly 1 had an official guide book, walkthrough book for Japan, which is quite cool. They have a lot of maps and stuff here. This is actually available to read on the wiki. The reason why my copy is in such shambles is because I actually tore it apart to scan it. So what you see on the wiki is actually all of these pages scanned. They have maps, they have interesting guides. They say Bentley's last name is Wise Turtle. So it's pretty cool. This was actually very common. They were relatively inexpensive when I was looking for these, actually. So that's why I have a couple more of them in very good condition. I have not actually opened these. But yeah, pretty nice items to have. They're really cool. Combine that with the Sly 1 Japanese art, and it is a marvel to look at. So that's the guidebook there. And then we have the other book, To Catch a Thief. This one I actually bought back in the day, back when Scholastic catalogs were a thing. This book, I believe, takes place in between Sly 1 and 2. It's been a long time since I've read it, but it's a cool book. It's a cool novel. It's a cool collector's item as well. It's relatively cheap. This is in production for quite a while. I have a couple of copies as well. Actually, I was thinking of tearing like one open, like I did with the guidebook, and scanning it in, but US copyright law is a bit different, so I didn't want to risk it. But anyways, that's what I have. And then I have an actual Thieves Raccoonus. This is very cool. This is actually a Sly 1 press kit. So as you can see there's that Sly 1 pre-release press release disc that I mentioned earlier, and then there is some media assets on this disc, which is very cool. And this whole thing is shaped like a Thieves Raccoonus, which is quite nice. And then of course it comes with a little card in there just for the press. And this is in French. This is a press or French press kit, which is quite cool. Includes a little snippet of the cover art right there, and a snapshot of Sly, and then the back of the Thieves Raccoonus. So this is a really cool press kit. Press kits in general are pretty cool regardless of the game. So this is really cool to see. And of course there's a ton of exposition here as well. I believe this might as well be the Sly 1 manual, or very similar to it, but it's got a lot of info about the game, about the characters and stuff. So it's a cool press kit. I'm really happy to have this. So there's that one. I have another press kit here. This is Sly 2 Band of Thieves. This was also European. This one's in English though, so this is a very, very neat press kit. It opens up like so. You've got the Sly logo there, and it opens up here, and you've got just a ton of goodies here. Trying to do this the best that I can in unboxing, but basically it opens up all four corners like so, and then you can see that there's just a ton of stuff here. This doesn't include the actual game, if I'm not mistaken, but it includes press discs or press materials that you can use in like your articles and stuff, a video demo, so like a demo showing like maybe trailers and stuff like that. These cards right here, so these cards have like screenshots, character overviews, stuff like that, but then on the back they each have a little design. It's like a little puzzle, so if you can actually form I believe this is Paris, like the first area of Paris, just by putting all these pieces together, which is very cool as well. So that's what's in there, and then it also includes a little sticker sheet for Sly 2, which is quite nice. Believe it or not, this is actually the most expensive item that I own. Or, well, the most expensive item that I paid for. So, for what that's worth, it is very cool, but I might have overpaid on it a little bit. But yeah, those are all the press kits I own. I also own a few posters. The only one I have that I can actually show off is this one here. It's a really big, like Sly 1 poster that they would have used. It's huge. But that's what it looks like there, and it's the same. I don't know. It's in here we have, the game art. So hopefully this will come out good on camera. But that's what it looks like. It's a poster. I would say it's like 3 feet or so. But that's what it looks like. Very cool poster. I have no room to put this, which is why it's just laying around here and there. But I do want to put that up. And I have a few other posters as well, but they're still rolled because, again, I have no room to hang them. But they're like Sly 2 promotional posters, and then I believe a Japanese Sly Collection poster. So these are E3 demo glasses. So Sly 3 included 3D glasses. These are the ones they gave out specifically at E3 2005. So they're a little different. They're all single piece glasses, and they do have a little bit of a different design than the ones you get in your normal Sly 3 box. Very cool. Did not pay a lot for this actually, which is extremely nice. It's very cool to see, but yeah, that's what they look like. There's also this little promotional sleeve here for Sly Cooper Thieves, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. So this was like for display purposes. So it's nothing too special. It's got a bit more promotional text on the front here that isn't present on the final version, but by and large it is the same as the final release. But yeah, that's what's there, which is very cool. This is not official merch by any stretch, but this is a little joke Rioichi Cooper sleeve that I made for April Fool's one year. It's based off of the Sly 1 box art with this neat little Rioichi art that a friend made. The runner of Devious.net actually made the Rioichi part, and then I sort of added on to the back to make it more personalized to Rioichi. Nothing official, but just a cool thing that I made and printed out. Moving from books, we can logically move on to magazines, which I have a surprising amount of. So actually magazines and more books. So we'll start off with... This was a mistake. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. Alright, crisis averted. There's a lot of books. They're very heavy, but this is what they are. We'll start off with the legendary Adventures of Sly Cooper, the first comic. This is issue 1. This is extremely rare, apparently. Very expensive. I got lucky with this one. I believe in an eBay bid or something. It was in great condition. Actually, I don't think I've actually ever opened it from its packaging. But yeah, it's a very cool comic. It's available to read on the Sly Cooper wiki as well. This takes place in between Sly 1 and Sly 2. But yeah, there's that. And then issue 2, of course. Adventures of Sly Cooper, issue 2. This one, I don't know how I got. I got this sometime in 2005. I don't know how. But I remember reading this a ton. This takes place in between Sly 2 and Sly 3. This is also rare, unfortunately. And then, of course, to learn how to draw comics, you can get this book, How to Draw Sly Cooper and Friends. This is also distributed through the Scholastic Catalog in elementary schools. Cool book, teaches you how to draw stuff, which is very nice, actually. Yeah, it's very cool. And then we have this GameNow little magazine. I'm going to cover the address label here. It's not mine, but I'd rather not show someone else's address. This was issue, if I can even find it, issue 12, volume 2, October 2002. So that's what this issue was. Cool cover art, a little bit of a story there. It's very nice, very cool. And thank you to Cooper Collector on Instagram and Twitter for shouting this out while it was on eBay. I was able to snag that, so thank you. They also have a ton of stuff in their collection that is worth checking out, so definitely check them out. This is Animation Magazine. This is a Sly 1 cover. This was, I believe, May 2002. So this one was like a double cover issue, so if you flip it around, it has a different cover, but this cover is from Sly 1, sort of talking about the art of Sly 1, which is very cool. This is actually one of the few pieces of merch that you can still find today for relatively cheap. I think this was like $9 or $10. They still have copies of this, and they'll still ship it out to you, and they're not going to scalp you, which is very kind of the company. So if you're still looking for Sly merch that won't break the bank, this is definitely one of them, if not the only thing. So that's pretty cool. Then we have the official PlayStation magazine featuring Sly 1 on the cover. This was official PlayStation magazine August 2002. So right as Sly 1 was getting ready to release. That's the magazine. Looks very cool. It's a little worn for wear, but hey, I'll take it. It's better than nothing. This one, I have two versions of these. These are the official PlayStation magazine for Sly 2. So this was in April 2004. So this one is packaged very nicely. I haven't opened it, mainly because I have one already here, but this one featured Sly 2 on the cover, which is very cool. August... Did I say... I meant April 2002, if I didn't say that already. April 2002. So, there's that. Animation Magazine also had an E3 edition in... What is this? June 2004. This featured Sly 2 on the cover art. This, unfortunately, is more difficult to come by. I actually ordered a June 2004 issue from Animation Magazine's website recently, and it did not come with this cover, so I guess this was an E3 edition variant, which is unfortunate, but I guess it makes it all the more special. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Then we also have the official PlayStation magazine for Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. So again, this has an address, not mine, but not really interested in showing it. So this was, I believe, sometime in 2012, May 2012. So it had featured Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. So that's all the magazines I have, and then the rest of these are walkthroughs. So we have the Prima Games guide for Sly Cooper and the Thieves Raccoonus. It's huge. It has a huge map. Someone on the subreddit, actually, I think, a long time ago, showed the scale of this to like the magazine and like a DualShock 4. It's massive. I haven't taken it out of this because I don't want to, but it's a very cool guide just because of that. And of course, it has a walkthrough for Sly 1. It's a very cool piece of merchandise. I have 2 copies of the Sly 2 guide for some reason from Brady Games. I'm not sure why, but anyways, I do. Yeah, I mean, this is actually a really cool guide because it explains the game in like a comic book. It's not a full-blown formal walkthrough. I mean, it's a full-blown walkthrough, but not in the formal sense. It shows it off in these comic book style panels, which is very cool, very creative. So that's very nice. I'm actually gonna move these off a little bit as we're getting closer to the end of the books. And then of course, Sly Collection. There's this guide. It's huge. This is, I believe, the only way Sly 3 actually got a guide. Sly 3 never got its own walkthrough book for some reason, so the Sly Collection book is really the only way to get a Sly 3 guide, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's a cool collector's item nonetheless. So those are all the books. We are nearing the end of this collection. All that's left are really just the physical goodies. So the first thing I have is the Stubbins plush. This very, very cute little plush. I actually got really lucky with this. They were still selling these in England when I was looking around for them, and so I actually had a good friend buy one and send it to me, which is very nice. It's a very cute plush. I really like it. I really love the design of this. So yeah, that was really cool. Unfortunately, it is discontinued. I don't know if Stubbins will ever push them back into production. I don't see why they would, honestly, unfortunately, but makes it all the more special. Then we have the stuff that's been behind me. So we have a Funko Pop here. This is the most recently released merch, which is very cool. It's I unboxed this on the Wiki channel. It's just nice. I mean, a lot of people have been asking for a Sly Cooper Funko, and it made a lot of sense, and so they finally made one, and it looks very unique. It has Sly perched on a spire, it's very cool, very unique design. I have a couple of these. This one came from Australia. It's a little beaten up because of the shipping, but the way you can tell is just because of that sticker. Yeah, special edition, which, I mean, really, it's not too super special because the Funko inside's the same thing anyways, but that is. And then I also have an unopened North American one as well, and the way you can tell, well, not even North American, it's a US version. The way you can tell is because it says GameStop exclusive right there. And then I'm not really gonna bring these down, but I also have the gaming head statues. The bronze version as well as the full color version. This is their first run back in, want to say 2015 or something like that. They were very expensive for what they were, but with most Sly merchandise, you kind of have to buy it as it goes live. Otherwise, it will only get more expensive from there, unfortunately. So I'm very happy to have these in my collection. They weigh a lot. They did require some assembly, but they are very cool pieces to have on the shelf. That's all the official stuff I have. There are a few unofficial pieces of merch that I want to highlight. These are pins from a company called Pin.Limited. They're now known as Pinbox. But this is their first run of pins as far as I remember. They were just making Sly Cooper pins. So Bentley, Sly, Bentley, this is Bentley, this is Murray, and this is Sly. And then they had various colors of the insignia as well, which is very nice. These were very high quality pins that weren't very expensive at all. This company has since moved on to more licensed stuff of different franchises, which good for them, honestly. I think they're having a lot of fun making that, but I was really also happy to have these pins in hand too. So that's those pins, and my most recent addition are these pins from a seller on Etsy. And I actually got these pins in exchange for press materials. So if I took some pictures and made a video for them, they would send me these things, or the other way around really. But these are also very nice pins, and these are also not very expensive. So if you're looking for Sly merch that looks pretty dang authentic, these pins are the way to go, and I'll have them linked in the description down below as well. Other than that, I think that is all the merchandise that I have. It's a lot. It's a lot to go through. I never really realized the scale of it all until I sat here and went through everything. But this is cool. This is a cool video. This is a cool experience. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I hope you learned a thing or two. Yeah, I don't really know how to end this video. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment, leave a like. What was your favorite piece of merch? What thing do you want to see a little more of? Maybe I went through it too quickly or didn't show it well enough. Maybe if you want me to go through it in more depth, let me know. Other than that, that has been it for me. Happy 20th anniversary to the series. Hope you all enjoyed it. There is merch on behalf of the 20th anniversary. Don't forget to get that before it's too late. And that's about it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.